So last year, the day after Thanksgiving, I had to be at work at 8 in the morning. I don't drive, so I had to take the train, which meant that I would have to leave the station by around 6 a.m. I couldn't find my jacket, and I knew it was going to be cold, but it doesn't get super cold where I am, so I just grabbed and threw on a blanket and started walking. I was almost to the platform for the train, and I had just barely missed the first train. That would have gotten me to work slightly early. When a guy got off the train, he started yelling stuff to me, but I had headphones in, so I don't know what all he said. He was riding his bike in the opposite direction, so I didn't think too much of it, and just kept walking. All of a sudden, the guy flies up behind me, and he almost hit me with his bike. He started cussing at me, asking why the hell I had my beautiful body wrapped up in a blanket in this cold ass weather. Then he offered me his coat, but I said no thanks, that I was fine. All of a sudden, out of the blue, he asked if anyone ever has gone down on me. I was so stunned that I couldn't say anything. At that point, I gained my composure and just said, "I'm leaving now." And he said some other vulgar things as I was walking away. I was so freaked out that I was shaking, and I was so thankful that he left me alone. After I walked away, because there weren't any houses or cars around, and the only buildings were businesses, but no one would even have been there yet. Just to clarify, because I realized I hadn't, I am 20 and a female. At this time, I was only 19 years old. So I'm a male nurse at a large hospital in San Francisco. I work in the ER, and as in custom Thanksgiving night, it was very busy. Now my wife is also a nurse for the same hospital. She works in labor and delivery, between babies being born left and right, and the people coming into the ER. We hadn't had a chance to take a break together, as we try to do almost every shift. So when she called, I figured it was a way to say she wanted to meet up for a bite to eat in the cafeteria. When I answered, I heard in the background a male voice screaming profanities in the background, and my wife, who was fluent in Spanish, trying to calm this guy down. She told me their pager wasn't working, and they needed security, stat. I quickly hung up, called for security, told my fellow nurses what was going on, and ran for labor and delivery, worried sick about my wife. When I ran, almost square smack dab into this visible, angry man. He wasn't huge, but bro, definitely worked out. And not at the gym, he was covered in prison tattoos, and he was obviously a banger. I worked out regularly, but I knew this guy could kick my ass. He looked at me, gave me this sick grin, and started heading towards me, sprouting off in Spanish. I don't speak fluent Spanish, but what I could understand scared the living shit out of me. I'm backing up as fast as I can. I start buzzing the door to the ER frantically for them to let me in. This guy's literally a foot away from me, and the door opens, and I'm pulled into the safety by a doctor. Gang banger punches the door a few times, makes a dragging sign across his throat while grinning at us both. Next thing I know, the police rush into the corridor he's in, and it takes 2 security officers and 2 cops to subdue this dude. I finally make it to my wife, who thankfully was shaken up but unhurt. She explained to me what happened. A young girl, only 14, came in, high fever, vomiting, distended belly. The banger claimed he was her brother, and they needed to cut her open to get out her baby. They did an ultrasound, and to their horror, they realized she wasn't pregnant. She had bags of drugs in her stomach. It's very common for drug mules to bring over young women from Mexico carrying drugs that way. Homeboy freaked out when they informed him his sister needed emergency surgery, and no, he wasn't getting his drugs. Thankfully, the girl survived, but the sad thing is she will be going to most likely be deported when she recovers. So gangbanger who wants to kill me, let's never meet again. It was Thanksgiving night, and I had a bit of an argument with my parents, so I decided to phone my friend and ask him what he was doing. He told me that his girlfriend was out of town and he was alone, so I decided I was going to walk over. He lived fairly close by, about 10 to 15 minutes away. So I started my walk, leaving, with no coat, and it was in the winter. But it was fairly close by, so I didn't think I should get one. So all I could hear was the snow crunching below my feet, and pretty much just the train, since I live right near a railroad. So about 5 minutes into my walk, there was this car that was following me. It was going very, very slow, which is unusual for my neighborhood. Not a lot of people come down this road, so I don't know. I just thought nothing of it, but had that weird feeling. So I continued and continued and turned 2 corners, and the car still followed me. Now, I was still about 10 minutes away from my friend's house, but I thought I could make it. I thought I was just creeping myself out for no reason, so I just kept walking. Eventually, the car just stopped, right dead behind me, and the window unrolled. By then, I was so freaked, I just started running towards my friend's house. It was about only 2 minutes away now, but then the car just drove so fast towards me, trying to catch up. So I decided not to go straight to my friend's house, and I went through a field. This field had a lot of trees in it, so I thought I could hide. But little did I know is that there was 3 of them that got out of the car, and they were just yelling. Take in mind, I am a female, so I was kind of scared to be out this late. And then I decided just to cut through the trees until I could get into the back alley of where his house was. I tried phoning him and telling him to unlock the door. He never answered, so I started to get worried because what was I going to do? I cut through the back alley, and I think they saw me because, well, they came down the back alley. So I ran into his yard, jumped over the fence as fast as I could, and I could hear them in the back alley as I was hiding beside his shed, waiting for his answer. He never called back, and I was scared to get worried. I decided I was going to knock on the door as quiet as I could, but before I could, I heard the gate open. I could barely breathe as I could hear their feet getting closer and closer. I decided to hide right behind the shed. And I didn't bring a sweater, so it was really cold, and I was so scared I was shaking, moving bushes beside me, and I was just praying they wouldn't find me. But then, the neighbor came outside, and they took off, just running off into nowhere. I don't know what they were going to do to me, but they didn't leave. They just ran back to their car. So I got the nerve and knocked on my friend's door. Frantically, he answered and said he was showering and he was sorry. And I thought all that was over and I'd never have to worry about that again. But no, I seen the car driving by about an hour later, right when I was about to head home. I was really scared. I didn't want to go. And then I think they saw me because they stopped right in front of the house. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want him to get hurt, and I didn't want to get hurt. And there was 3 of them. They were big men, and I was very, very scared. And my nightmare came true as their car stopped in front of the house. The 3 men got out of the car and approached the door. They started banging on the door, saying, "Let us in." The voices did not sound familiar, but later I'd find out one of those voices were familiar, very familiar to me. As they were trying to break in, one of them went through the backyard. He has a big glass window, so it's not that hard to not look in. So we decided to shut the lights off and phone the police. The police said they'd take about 15 to 20 minutes since it was snowy out and they would not be able to get there fast enough since we're in a small town. and then I snuck to the back to make sure the back door was locked. And it wasn't, and one of the men were inside. We decided to go and hide in the bathroom and lock the door. Thankfully, he has a closet in his bathroom that's fairly big that could fit us both into it, and we could hear them inside yelling, "Where are you, bitch?" And I don't know why they were looking for me. And the 15 minutes went on, and we could hear sirens getting close. It took them forever. It felt like it was ages, but nope, just 15 minutes. Eventually, the cops came, and were able to get 2 of them, and one of them got away. Later, they confessed to who the other man was, and it turns out the other man was my crazy ex-boyfriend. They said they had plans to kill and rape me. I don't know why. I guess I have a bad choice in men. Ever since that's happened, I've never been able to think of Thanksgiving the same. I've always been scared, and always worry if they'll ever get me again. I don't know what happened, if they were sentenced or what, but all I know is I moved out of that town, and I don't think I will ever go back. But I'm still scared for my family there, since they still live there. And ever since then, I don't really fight with my family, thinking that I could have died while I was fighting with my family for such stupid reasons. All I'm thankful for is on Thanksgiving is for my family and friends, and to be alive during this time. So thank you all for listening to my story, and I hope you guys all have a good Thanksgiving. So creepy ex-boyfriend, let's never meet again.